All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I will call this meeting of the Tigard-Tualatin School Board to order at 4 p.m. All right, so today we just have one agenda item, and that is it's a small piece of business, but an important one. And so it became like pretty recently, we were looking through some policy and realizing that our policy around board leadership. Oh, David, do you have your hand up?
Yes, Chair. Do we need to approve the agenda?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is me going fast because I want Jill to get to her apartment or her appointment. Yes, there are no changes to the agenda, so I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Vice Chair James and seconded by Director Zerschmied. All right. So any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll move to a choral vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Sorry about that. All right, so I will come back to where it's because I didn't have the actual agenda in front of me. So, so what happened was our board policy is slightly different than like OSBA policy or ODE or Board of Ed policy around board leadership terms. And so what happened is if you read the policy, it talks about 2 calendar years, and then it kind of goes into saying like, oh, you can take over for somebody else if they're incapable or incapacitated of continuing their term, but it never really clarifies when the clock starts on that term. And so I spoke with OSBA and they sort of agreed that it was a little bit nebulous. And so to be safe, because I took over for Ben in December, we didn't have a situation where starting now and moving down the line, we have board leadership changes all throughout the year, kind of like when a board member comes on, you come on and then you have like that regular sort of timely election date. So same thing here. So essentially all I'm asking is to and this was the guidance by OSBA, is to temporarily suspend policy BCB effective today so that the policy committee can shore up some of that language by the time we get to June 30th, and then we go through that board leadership voting and negotiation or nomination process for the next time. And that way we're not questionable in terms of whether or not we're in compliance or not. And it was fuzzy enough that we felt like we really just wanted the policy committee to take a look at this and kind of add a little bit of language only around when you're taking over for a term. That doesn't necessarily count. That doesn't start the clock for that 2 consecutive calendar years. So that's why we're here. We just want to stay transparent and make sure we're really clear about all that piece. So are there any questions, thoughts, anything around this piece?
No, I really like the idea of adding in it'll only be a sentence probably, of if you're filling out somebody else's term, that doesn't count as your 2-year limit. The clock starts when you are voted in at the start of a July session.
Yeah, and I think that.
So with that, I move to.
Go.
I was going to say, unless somebody else has something to say, I move that we suspend policy BCB for the remainder of this school year.
I'll second. Just
motion
stop seconding.
Motion was made by Director Zerschmied and seconded by Director Weston. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll move to a choral vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries, and then I'll go ahead and get that process sort of started with the policy committee in terms of that work, and I know our directors on here will help that as well. All right, so with that is all we had for today. Thank you so much for taking this few minutes to get that just sort of squared away so we just are on the straight and narrow. And with that, I will adjourn.